is about the same as I've had hot dinners, or maybe not quite, but not far off it. I mean, people are talking about things that matter to them right now. Now, another question from Trevor Lyttleton, who's a campaigner for elderly people. He asks, and I know this is an issue close to your heart, will you as Chancellor ensure delivery of fully funded social care to reduce bed blocking and the NHS backlog? Will you do that, or will you, Chancellor, as many people fear, delay the cap on social care costs that Boris Johnson promised for taxpayers and families in England?
Well, again, without explaining to you now what I need to announce properly to the House of Commons on Thursday, I think I've spent more time involved in the NHS and care system in my time in frontline politics than any other area. And the one comment I would make about that question is that you cannot separate the NHS and the care system. They go hand in hand. If you have a care system in difficulty, those problems end up in hospitals very quickly indeed. And so we have to think of those two sectors together. And we have to recognise that, yes, we're putting a lot more money into the NHS, but there are real pressures there because the number of older people is going up. And we have to recognise that in terms of how we help the NHS
but
through
would
this
you
difficult
acknowledge,
period.
and I know you don't want to give us specifics, but would you acknowledge that if the social care cap is delayed, there's going to be a lot of disappointment and potentially a lot of extra hardship for people?
Of course, and I don't want to pretend that there aren't going to be lots of difficult decisions that disappoint people, but I think what people will also see is that this is a government that is committed to helping people with the greatest difficulties and committed to our public services and is taking a balanced approach. And, you know, the big question people are going to ask is, if we are actually in recession, are these measures making the recession worse or better? We want this to be as short a recession as possible, as shallow a recession as possible if we're in it. But we don't have the option of doing nothing, because we saw with the mini budget, you heard what Paul Johnson said just now, if we do nothing, the Bank of England will then increase interest rates because they have to do that constitutionally. It's their job to bring down inflation. If we don't help them with what we do as a government, they'll have to take pressure, and we'll see mortgage rates go up, interest rates go up, and that will be damaging for families up and down the country as they see their costs increase in a different way. And I think the big point I would make, Conservatives know that a dynamic economy needs low taxes and sound money, but sound money has to come first. But inflation eats away at the pound in your pocket or pound in your bank account every bit as insidiously as taxes, because it pushes up the cost of your weekly shop.
Except everybody is going to pay more tax. Public services are going to be reduced. I mean, you keep saying it's difficult, you keep saying we have to do